Hello brick fans, and today we're going to be looking through the arched window, and specifically we're going to be unboxing this splendid little Lego Batman set that my three daughters gave me for Father's Day while I was on holiday in France last week. And also we're going to be looking at how you make the nice curved fenders for these super vintage cars. Now, to be honest gang, I've actually got several Batman figures already in my Lego village, and so maybe I didn't really need another one, but nevertheless we're going to unbox this set and have a look at it. I noticed straight away there's a Batman figure, and there's a kind of figure called Selina Kyle. I don't know if she's a villain or a helper of Batman. I presume she's a villain because it looks like Batman's chasing her with this sort of grappling hook. Maybe what I might do afterwards is perhaps substitute Robin for the villain character, so Batman and Robin could both have their own motorcycles chasing round Brickstead. What do you guys think? I quite like this old 1960s version of Robin. Incidentally gang, I understand the powers that Batman has for hanging onto buildings and maybe possibly flying over buildings. What supernatural powers does a Robin actually have? So I'm going to use this sharp knife to basically dig into the box, hopefully not damaging it too much, because I don't like to damage the packaging that Lego comes in, just in case it comes in handy for later. By the way kids, you might want to get a grown-up to help you if you need to use a sharp knife to get into any Lego boxes. So I've just noticed there's a kind of finger symbol there to make your way into the box, so I've opened that, and now I'm just going to use the knife to to get into the box. There we go. I think we've managed to open it successfully, so we can take the innards out and see what we've got in there. And there's two or three nice little packages of Lego bits and bobs here, including the looks like the Batman figure there. So I'm going to go away for a few minutes and assemble this this super model, and then we'll have a look at it. So there we've got the Batman figure assembled and a little bit of the frame for the bike, so I'll just do a little bit more work on that, and then we'll see what it looks like. Right, so here's Batman's motorbike, which is now complete, and we'll just put the little man in the seat there. Yeah, I think that looks quite good. So now we'll start the next motorbike. Okay gang, so I've finished the build now, and the models are looking pretty good. Both the motorbikes are completed, and both the minifigs. Interestingly, there's a few little bits and bobs left over, this little pile of stuff here, including actually a spare minifig head of, I presume that's Bruce Wayne when he's not wearing his Batman costume, which is quite handy to have that. I might use it as a sort of separate minifig actually. Now the model here with Batman on his motorcycle is clearly based on the recent Batman movies rather than the classic 1960s TV show. This is the one where Sir Michael Caine plays the butler Alfred, of course. Shall I prepare the Batmobile, Master Bruce? I'm getting very emotional now. My voice is going very deep now. I will not bury you, Batman, like I buried your parents, Master Bruce. I was doing Sir Michael Caine there, folks. Anyway, that's a couple of nice Batman models that we'll integrate into Brickstead at some point. As I said before, I might try and source a Robin figure to go in that other motorbike. It will obviously have to be the modern Robin, not the version from the 1960s, which we've already got elsewhere. But moving on from Batman, we said we'd have a look at some vintage vehicles. So we've got this beautiful old-fashioned police station in Brickstead, but we needed some nice police vehicles to go in it. Now, of course, we've got this fairly modern police incident van here, but I designed this rather attractive old-fashioned 1950s police car. Now, as you may be aware, we often source the pictures for vehicles from these lovely books from the 1950s and 60s, this Ladybird series. This particular one, The Policeman, if we have a look inside it, there's a very charming old-fashioned police car, probably a Wolseley police car with a nice siren on top. So I've kind of used that as the inspiration for the vehicle that I made here. Now, what I wanted to do was get a nice curved mudguard, because old-fashioned cars had this lovely big mudguard over the front wheels, and also a bit of a mudguard at the back over the back wheels, and then it had this kind of triangular shaped engine compartment there, sort of coming to a point with this lovely grille at the front. And of course we will have come across those sort of vehicles in the old-fashioned Enid Blyton adventure books, such as the famous 5 and the 5 Findouters. I'll show you an illustration actually from one of the early. There's an example here of an old-fashioned car in one of the famous 5 books by Enid Blyton. So this type of curved mudguard looks very effective on the old-fashioned vintage car, and I actually used the same technique in another car that I made, which was the limousine for the Royal Motorcade. As we mentioned in a previous episode, I actually copied the idea for this car from the internet, but I actually improved it by adding this nice curved mudguard effect, using some long sloping curves, and then also sort of 2x2 sloping curve at the front there, so it gives this nice curvaceous sort of mudguard effect there. So what we're aiming for with all these vintage vehicles and buildings is a nice sort of evocation of the old-fashioned 1950s and 60s world, perhaps as imagined by Sir Alan Bennett, the great British playwright. Man sat us down with a pot of tea. I waited pensively for Peter and Dudley, Dudley and Peter. But as I waited in vain, who should turn up but Sir David Frost? Hello, good evening, and welcome. That was the week that was. And that was the Lego show that was, folks. Could you please smack that bell and subscribe? And I'll say goodbye, live long and prosper, and see you all in the next show.